Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all had a good weekend. I'm just after loading up a load of silage for our calves out on the outfarm. I'm taking it down to just to feed them. They're starting to run low. We whipped the last of it in there just before dinner or lunch, and it should be ready now. They should have it all eaten. Should be ready for us to put it in. Excuse me. Not a bad day today. We've had a little bit of rain overnight, which was forecast, but no rain today yet anyway. And the forecast is good for all week. It's the best forecast we've had. So we'll be hoping that it stays dry, and that maybe by Thursday or Friday I'll be able to get at slurrying some of our grazing ground. Oh, bumpy. Really is the bumpiest road in the whole of Ireland. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, so we've had no calves since Saturday now at this point, but what I was doing today, well, I've 5 more calves in creeping and 6 that I'll put in later. So it means now that the second pen of creeping calves is pretty much full, or getting there. We should have 18 creeping by this evening. The only one that won't be creeping is the premature calf, as he's become commonly known as now. I had to take a phone call there. Yes, that's kind of where we were at. We also we had some cows missing one of their tags, and we had all the replacement tags, and yes, we put in probably 6 or 7. I think it was 6 or 7 we put in of those, and there's still a few more to put in. Yeah, it's just general bits and pieces. So we skipped forward now. We're down putting in the silage. Yeah, so as I say, we'd be hoping to get some of our grazing ground slurried now if this dry weather persists. They're talking about it getting a lot cooler later in the week, and we're going to have an easterly wind, which as a rule the easterly wind does bring a lot of drying, so we'll just have to see what we get. But like, it's surprising, especially when you get to this time of the year. We've got a few hours more sunshine or daylight now at the minute than what we had, say, at the early in January. So like, it does make a difference. You get a few dry days, everything dries up fairly fast. And like, it is getting late. Like, we'd usually have most of our grazing ground all sorted at this stage, and the grass then will be starting to grow or come along for us to usually get cows and calves out early in March. Even if they're only out in small numbers, we usually try to get some out. We'll just have to see what comes later in the week. As I keep saying when I'm down here, the shed hasn't gotten any bigger. Been down now 2 or 3 times, kind of chatting away as we've been pulling in the silage. Somebody actually in the last video just suggested that they'd been working, I think, on a farm where there was a shed pretty similar to this, where it was narrow and a little bit dangerous, cattle sticking their heads out. But how they dealt with it was they had a temporary electric fence wire that they could drop down on each side. And obviously it was connected to a fencer, and that would keep the cattle back when you were driving in and out for the few minutes. Which is a good idea. Just something maybe that if we're going to have this shed again next year, we'll have to maybe set something like that up. It would be easy enough to set it up. So yeah, it would be a good idea. So this dry weather does come to be quite busy with the slurry, and we'll also have to try and maybe get a little bit of fertilizer out on the winter barley crops. because they've took quite a hammering with the weather, and I'll maybe try to spread maybe like a bag or 3/4 of a bag of urea to the acre, just to kind of get them going, because some of them are, well, one of our plots of winter barley is fairly green. It's not too bad. It was where I spread the dung just before ploughing, but the other piece, there was slurry put on it, but the barley as it come off, it's now quite, it was fine when it come off in colour, but it's now quite yellow. So we'll have to, if this dry weather comes, we'll have to try and sneak out with a little bit of fertilizer for that as well. Yeah, it is a quite exciting time of the year once it starts to dry up and you can start to get into the fields again and get going at some of the jobs. It really is kind of the first steps of winter taking a back seat, and the spring really starting, and looking forward to summer. Still haven't got around to cleaning any of the tractors. I've been meaning to start cleaning some of the tractors going back to around Christmas time or just after Christmas. The plan was to start to tidy them up, but kind of with not being able to get at the slurry or get it out when we wanted to, and always, you're kind of always spreading a few loads of slurry every few days, so I couldn't really see the point in starting to clean the tractors up if you're going to be back out in the field driving around in the muck again a few days later. So it's been put on the long finger. But I don't know, I'm kind of sick of driving the tractors and the windows rotten dirty, and every time the sun comes out you can't see out the window. So it's coming to the point now where the cleaning is going to have to take place, I'm afraid. So I'll see, I might even wash the 6930 before the slurry starts later in the week. We didn't get all the silage in, but almost. Just looking at the teleporter's tyres locked out. There's not much tread left, and it's starting to get very low with all the road work. If we can get the summer out of it, it'll do again in on the road and around the yard in the winter time. Yeah, the windlands, last year's windlands are getting fairly big. They're you can see what they're growing all the time. Looking forward to getting these boys out. They can eat it in about 2/3 of the way, and sorry, about 1/3 of the way each, and it leaves a third down the middle. So you don't have to grape anything out for a number of days, and so you might then grape it in then for a couple of days then at the end before it's time for more. It looks worse than what it is. It's actually very easy to grape once they've had it away. Much easier than the blocks, thankfully. But ideally, if the shed was a little bit wider, we'd be using the diet feeder in it. Yeah, so that's really it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's just kind of a little bit different. I wanted to stick a little bit of machinery driving up, or a little bit of tractor work, because it's been mostly cows and calves over the last couple of weeks, and with a little bit of a lull in the calving, I said I'd just stick this out because there's no doubt there'll be plenty more calving videos before the end of the week, and just to keep a little bit of a mix of content on the channel. So yeah, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you tomorrow.